Hey there, welcome back to High Infidelity, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to channel for more spicy stories. Now, let's get into today's story video.
Girlfriend cheated on me and my master plan of revenge began. My girlfriend, 22 female, now ex, admitted to me, 24 male, that she had been talking to someone else on Instagram and had been drawn to him, but she felt bad and regretted it. I messed up. Why? You're probably wondering why nothing occurred. Well, I have an uncanny capacity to detect falsehoods, and this was the greatest nonsense I'd ever heard. She had been chilly from the beginning of the relationship, so feeling bad for just conversing didn't seem like her. Because I was too close to her, I tried to let it go and concentrate on work, but something was odd and I could still feel it. The paranoia was devouring me from inside. We became estranged over the following several weeks, and she had been remarkably sociable, going out with various friends, or so she said, despite the fact that she had few. This provided me enough information to deduce that she had only given me half the truth and was still up to no good. I still perplexed as to why someone would half confess something in order to continue doing it. The relationship was very much dead in every way, and I had advised splitting it up since I saw no value in continuing, but she kept on trying and trying because I had found her a nice job and she was making great progress owing to my friends. Something snapped inside of me when I understood this was her motive for going on. I had stood by her side through unimaginably familiar stuff, professional disappointments, and personal betrayals from her pals. I gave her all I had all the time. I lived for the sake of making her happy. But in truth, she was living on my dime and keeping me in the dark. As the that I was, I began scheming my icy cold vengeance in silence. I called a random female J, who gave me her phone number months before these occurrences, but I never got to call since I was loyal. I explained why I hadn't phoned and she agreed. We barely flirted on our first date, but she shocked me with a kiss at the conclusion. It made me feel uncomfortable and guilty. I waited for my girlfriend to go in the shower the following day and snooped through her communications. I found out what I had assumed for weeks. She had kept the show running and at extraordinary heights. Going out numerous times per week, exchanging photographs, often, and even at times when I was with her. Copying and copying related texts she sent me when we first met. Even posing for him in the clothing that my folks had given her for Christmas. My guilt was thrown out the window. I managed to keep myself from panicking out and exposing her. This gave me all the bravery and blind wrath I needed, so I contacted Jay again that night and carried it out in the most spectacularly rage-fueled manner I could think. I kept this up for the following 2 months or so, having sex with Jay as often as I could, and as much as I could while still acting like a regular boyfriend. Some days I spent the whole evening Jay in order to see my girlfriend at night and fuck her even more while focusing on the hatred in my thoughts. After that, I generally left out little clues of skepticism in her direction in order to make her feel nervous and guilty. In the end, I ended things with my girlfriend after discovering her falsehoods, but I kept my secrets to myself so that I could maintain my moral superiority over hers. Even when I gave her the evidence, she denied everything. She grieved for days over their reconciliation. This section made me feel as though it was all for nothing and never truly provided me closure. Jay became at ease around me, but I was already immersed in the story of this scheme. I couldn't bear the thought of dating anybody else at this point, so I had to end things with her as well. In a far less dramatic manner, since she was somewhat aware of what was going on with me and was mostly interested in the sex. After a few months, the lady my ex despised, because to her popularity among mutual male acquaintances, came to come work with me. To my surprise, we up and grew close but not serious. When my ex found out and contacted me to confirm it, she was still upset over the breakup. Instead of responding, I traveled to her home to inform her in person and see her disintegrate. Edit. All of this nonsense did nothing except screw with my brain. Her infidelity caused me fear about other people betraying me, but what I did demonstrated that I, too, was a jerk like no other. Since realizing this, my attitude about women and relationships has changed dramatically. I would never do anything like this again, but it had to happen for me to learn and realize the repercussions of letting oneself go with wrath and hatred. It merely causes discomfort and does not promote recovery. Edit 2. For those who feel sorry for Jay, I only picked her as my accomplice since she was in a relationship at the time she gave me her phone number and so was attempting to cheat. In essence, I believed I was doing justice in more than one name. Nonetheless, I feel awful for her. She didn't deserve to be caught in my garbage and abused in this manner. She was the only one with the foresight to remain a ghost indefinitely. I embrace your contempt with open arms. Story 2. What to do about an ex-cheating wife. Throwaway, not the greatest at grammar. So here we go. I've been with my girlfriend for around 14-15 years and I'm absolutely ignorant about how to be in a relationship. So essentially, I've been with this lady since my 8th grade year as I prepare to enter high school. We both had messed up childhoods, but hers was much worse since her family exploited her mostly as a sex object to acquire what they needed. We ended up having 2 children together, both of whom are daughters. She worked 3rd shift at a manufacturing around 2 years ago, and I worked 1st shift roofing an hour away. To cut a long tale short, she was cheating on me with many people, and I knew it, but I wasn't in a position to catch her. I'd work from 6 a.m. until at least 6 p.m., perhaps later. She began behaving strangely, but I trusted her. It was obvious after a time, but I couldn't prove anything. So one day when she arrived home early, I hopped into her vehicle and went off to an abandoned road, ripped it apart, and discovered all the proof I needed. Women leave so many traces behind them, like receipts and stuff. Anyway, she eventually left, and it was a tremendous mess. After confronting her, she fled and stole my daughters, which I blew up and ruined, before joining the military. So, when I was ready to sail off to basic training, she sobbed and pleaded for my return. I knew she was cheating, but I didn't know with whom. So, after she went, a very attractive lady approached me and begged for my phone number, and it was the first time I ever caved in. I chatted to this girl for about a month because I was so miserable and lonely. Anyway, shortly before I left, my ex begged and pleaded with me to try again, and I accepted. So months passed and we weren't normal, but I was in another country and she was at home. She waited until I was ready to return before telling me his name and her pill addiction. I was really taken aback. I remember going home and sobbing because she was the love of my life, and I had turned down a number of girls to be loyal, but she wasn't. To cut a long tale short, I freaked out after basic training. I've destroyed everything that matters to me and can't bear seeing her in the eyes. She's a better lady now, and she continually tells me that if I weren't here, she'd rather be dead, and she finally told me about her childhood, parents, and everything. It's all way too much for me to write. Suo. To summarize, she cheated on me with 2 men for over a year, and I'm so screwed up today. I'm not sure what to do or how to behave. To be honest, I was enraged and wanted to exact my vengeance on her. So I went to that fat POS home. I was going to murder the guy who had contributed to the disintegration of my family. It's been a year since I blew up, went to prison, terrified the guy's wife, and lost my kids' privileges. She's been living with my grandma for almost a year, and from what I've heard, she's really trying to keep me, but I'm sad and lonely. I'm exhausted and she triumphs. Every night, I simply want to hurt others, including myself, and it stinks. My family can sleep, but I can't. I haven't slept well in approximately 3 years. It's all a little much. I'm sorry for the rage. I'm a freaking downer. I'm furious. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't sleep, and when I do, I wake up in a panic, ready to murder. Please, God, assist me. I have nothing to lose if I depart. I'll have nothing but hatred if I don't have children, a spouse, or friends. I'm not going to pursue a job if I believe it's meaningless. He apologized and attempted to deny everything since he now had a child, but I knew better. She is also not the greatest at speaking the truth, and she continues to lie about it. I can sense it, but he refuses to tell me the truth. She has evolved. She's better than ever, and to be honest, she kisses the earth I walk on. But on the inside, I want to put on a suicide vest and take out his whole life. I'm conflicted. When I returned home following 6 months of training, doctors laughed at me and shrugged it aside. I informed him and demonstrated with my hands that I intended to strangle someone to death. Now I'm facing strangling accusations, among other things. I'll confess she was the greatest mistake I've ever made, but I didn't grow up in a family. That's everything I've ever desired, and I still can't believe it. It's been years, yet I'm still reliving everything. I can feel the agony and adrenaline from all the nonsense as if it were occurring to me right now. I'm furious. In my heart, I know I'd murder the guy or men or people/group. Humans are squishy and chubby. You get the idea. Guns/knives. /bomb/poison/arrows/blades/mantraps, etc. If I wanted to injure the person, I'd simply build a lovely flash powder gift with tons of shrapnel delivered right to the front door out of common household things. Nobody would be the wiser, but I can see my daughters now, and that makes me feel better. I'm simply afraid of losing them because my attitude would hurt her and anybody else in my path. But I was up religious, and that constantly concerns me. I'm just clueless. I understand forgiveness and all that, but I'm done with religion and people. I'm feeling powerless and despondent. I can already taste the vengeance. I'd want to feel the life depart their bodies from time to time. The army does not teach you how to be a sassy. In the army, everything revolves on aggressiveness and death. I feel my mind is polluted and I need assistance. There's way more to it all, but that was some of the. It goes deeper with many more kicks tossed in, but it's 2 a.m. and I'm on a lousy screen phone. Someone help me.